All right, welcome to the first solutions video for topic 1.07, number 1. The three assignments for topic 1.07 are 10 questions each from IXL grade 12, topic E.2. So we'll do 10 questions in video 1, 10 questions in video 2, and then in video 3 we will just run until we hit mastery. So in this case, we have to solve for G, and there may be one or two solutions. So we have to check for extraneous roots. We will start with the G plus 4 over 8 equals G plus 6 over 10. We multiply both sides. 10G plus 40 equals 8G plus 48. I wrote X, but I meant G because these are G's that we have here. Gives us 2G equals 8, or G equals 4. So we only have one solution. We have no extraneous roots because there are no variables in our denominators. Second question, Q minus 5 over 5 equals Q plus 1 over 2. So Q minus 5 over 5 equals Q. That's a funny looking Q. That's better. And it should have been plus 1. Yeah, over 2. Multiplying out on both sides. 2Q minus 10 is 5Q plus 5. That gives us a negative 15 equals 3Q, or Q equals negative 5. Again, just a single solution. Now we can start getting into our multiple solutions. So here we have C minus 10 over C minus 4. And C minus 10 over C minus 4 equals C plus 2 over C plus 4. We have to remember that C is not allowed to be 4 or a negative 4 because of those values would make at least one denominator 0. We cross multiply, C minus 10, C plus 4, C plus 2, C minus 4. We multiply these out, C squared minus 6C minus 40 equals C squared minus 2C minus 8. Our C squared terms cancel. So I'm going to bring the negative 6C to the right and the negative 8 to the left. And in doing that, I will keep our coefficient of the constant positive. And we have a 4C equals a negative 32, or C equals negative 8. That's a single allowed value. So now we have to solve for D. Again, with a possibility of one or two solutions. Although this is another one that is only going to give us one because we have the same coefficients here, so we're going to get a lot of equivalent cancellations. So we will have a D plus 5 over D plus 6. And that is equal to 10D minus 4 over 10D minus 3. So our non-permissible values, D is not allowed to be negative 6 or 3 over 10. Cross multiply, D plus 5 is 10D minus 3. And on our other side, D plus 6 is 10D minus 4. That gives us a 10D squared plus 50D minus 3D is a 47D minus 15. The right is another 10D squared plus 60 minus 4 is a plus 50/60 minus 24. Our 10d squareds cancel. The 47d I'm going to pull over to the right, which leaves us with a 9d. The 24, the negative 24 I'm going to move to the left, which leaves us with a positive 9, or d equals 1, a single permissible value. Question 4. We're solving for C. Now here, we may finally have two solutions to examine. We'll see why in a moment. So we have a 3 over C plus 6. And checking back here, that is a 3c over 7c plus 2. Cross multiply. 3 times 7c plus 2. 3c times c plus 6. Now this c here in the denominator and this c in the numerator give rise to a quadratic c term. But on the left-hand side, we have no such term. So we have different degrees in our numerators. So this is how we are going to have a quadratic, which gives us the potential for two solutions. Pull out a common factor of 3. We have a c squared minus c minus 2. So this will factor as 3 times c minus 2, c plus 1. So the values of c we have are negative 1 and a positive 2, provided neither of these would make our denominator 0. Our non-permissible values are negative 6 and negative 2 over 7, so it's all good. Negative 1 and 2 are our two solutions. So now, x over 2x plus 14 equals 2 over x plus 1. X over 2x plus 14 is the same as 2 over x plus 1. That gives us x squared plus x equals 2x plus 28. Or at least it does as long as x is not equal to negative 1 or negative 7. Collecting like terms, x squared minus x minus 28 equals 0. I am going to double check to make sure I did make a mistake. That should have been a 4x. Because this skill doesn't seem set up to give us irrational number answers. And we were about to get one. Now we need factors of 28 that are 3 units apart. That's x minus 7 times x plus 4 equals 0. So x is negative 4 or a positive 7, which is allowed. A negative 7 is not, a positive 7 is. So we have a negative 4 and a positive 7. Now, question 6, we are solving for h. So we have h minus 8 over 8 and negative 9h minus 4 over 4. So there are no non-permissible values here. There's no h's in our denominators, no chance to divide by 0. So we just cross multiply. We move everything to one side of the equation, or at least everything with an h to the left-hand side of the equation, everything without to the right. That gives us h equals 0, and yes, that does work. That gives us a negative 1 on both the left and the right. So now we do have one possible non-permissible value. is we have an x over 10 is a negative 1 over x minus 7. Cross multiplication here, given that x cannot be a positive 7, gives us x squared minus 7x equals a negative 10, or x squared minus 7x plus 10 equals 0, which factors to x minus 2, x minus 5 equals 0. So our two solutions are 2 and 5. So now we have a few more values of h to check. Here we go. So we have h minus 1, h minus 2 over h plus 1 equals h plus 2 over h plus 9. Cross multiplying here, we have h squared minus, actually let's do this out in detail to make it easier for people to track who aren't quite used to doing it with just mental math yet. So now h squared minus 2 plus 9 is a plus 7. That's a 7h, I said, minus 18. That's h squared plus 2h plus 1h is plus a 3h plus 2. Our h squareds cancel completely. I am going to move the 3h to the right. So we end up with a 4h here, and then, move the 3h to the left, and the negative 18 to the right. Gives us 4h equals 20, or h equals 5. 5 was one of our permissible values, so no issues there. That's 9 down, 1 to go for the first homework assignment. 5 over x plus 1 equals 10 over x minus 5. So 5 over x plus 1 equals 10 over x minus 5. So x is not allowed to be negative 1 or a positive 5. Cross multiply. Gather our x terms on the right, so we have a positive coefficient of x. Gather our constants on the left. Since we don't have a quadratic, we're going to be able to solve this with division. X is negative 7. And that solves the first 10 questions on this homework assignment.